I was 12 when my family visited the Great Smoky Mountains in October 2018, and what happened on that trip still makes me wake up in cold sweats 6 years later. We'd rented a cabin near Gatlinburg, one of those luxury places with the hot tub on the deck and the perfect view of the mountains. My parents, my younger sister Emma, who was 8, and I had been planning this trip for months. On our third day, we decided to hike one of the easier trails near Cades Cove. Nothing too challenging, just a nice family walk through the fall colors. The trail was busy when we started around noon. Families everywhere, people taking photos of the leaves, kids running ahead of their parents. Normal tourist stuff. Emma was wearing a bright pink jacket that my mom had bought specifically so we could spot her easily in crowds. She had this little game where she'd run ahead to the next tree, hide behind it, then jump out when we caught up. Kid stuff. About 2 miles into the hike, near a small creek crossing, Emma ran ahead to hide behind a cluster of rhododendron bushes, just like the Dennis Martin case from 1969, where a 6-year-old disappeared while playing hide-and-seek near the Appalachian Trail. I watched her pink jacket disappear behind the green leaves. My parents were maybe 20 feet behind me, taking photos of some mushrooms growing on a fallen log. "Emma, we can see you," I called out, seeing a flash of pink through the leaves. I kept walking toward the bushes, expecting her to jump out any second with that giggling shriek she always did, but she didn't. When I reached the rhododendrons, she wasn't there. The bushes were maybe 4 feet deep, backed against a rock face. There was nowhere she could have gone. I could still see a glimpse of pink fabric caught on one of the branches, but Emma was gone. "Emma?" I called louder. "This isn't funny anymore." My parents reached me 30 seconds later. The panic hit all of us at the same moment. We searched behind every tree, every bush, calling her name. Other hikers stopped to help. Within 10 minutes, there were probably 20 people searching the immediate area. Within an hour, park rangers had arrived. The search and rescue operation that followed was massive. By evening, they had over 50 people combing the woods. Dogs, helicopters, infrared cameras, they used everything. They found her hair tie about 100 yards from where she'd disappeared, in a direction that made no sense. It was straight uphill through dense undergrowth that an 8-year-old couldn't have navigated quickly. I need to tell you about the witness. An older woman, probably in her 70s, had been hiking alone and said she saw Emma about 5 minutes after she disappeared, but her description made no sense. She said Emma was walking with another child, a boy about the same age, wearing clothes that looked old-fashioned, suspenders and a white shirt. She said they were walking calmly, hand in hand, heading deeper into the woods. When she called out to them, asking if they were lost, they didn't respond or even look back. The search continued for 3 days. They covered over 50 square miles of forest with more than 200 volunteers. They brought in search teams from 3 different states. On the 3rd night, I couldn't sleep. I stood on the cabin's deck, staring at the dark mountains, when I heard it. Emma's voice, clear as day, singing the song she'd been humming all week. It was coming from the woods behind the cabin. I ran inside and woke my parents. We grabbed flashlights and followed the sound. It led us about a 1/4 mile into the woods to a small clearing we hadn't noticed before. Emma was there, sitting on a fallen log, still wearing her pink jacket. She looked exactly the same, not dirty, not hurt, not even scared. When my mom grabbed her, sobbing, Emma seemed confused by the fuss. She said she'd been playing with her new friend, and they'd been walking through the pretty places. When we asked about the friend, she described a boy who matched what the elderly hiker had seen. She said his name was something that sounded like Dennis or Denis. The rangers were baffled. The clearing where we found her was 3 miles from where she'd disappeared, across terrain that should have been impossible for a child to traverse. There was no sign of how she'd survived 3 days in the woods. No evidence of shelter, no food wrappers, nothing. Her clothes were clean. She wasn't even thirsty. The doctor who examined her said she was perfectly healthy, showing no signs of exposure or dehydration. The case reminded investigators of the 1969 disappearance of Dennis Martin, who vanished at age 6 while playing hide and seek in the same park and was never found. Emma doesn't remember much about those 3 days now. Sometimes she'll mention her friend from the mountains, but when we press for details, she gets this distant look and changes the subject. She draws pictures sometimes, always the same thing. 2 children holding hands, walking through trees, with a third child made of shadows walking beside them. We never went back to the Smokies, but every October, Emma stands at her bedroom window at night, looking east toward the mountains. When I ask what she's looking for, she says she's waiting for her friend to come back and finish showing her the pretty places. The Great Smoky Mountains has one of the highest rates of unexplained disappearances of any national park, with multiple cold cases remaining unsolved. I used to think those stories were exaggerated. Now I know better. There's something in those mountains that takes children, and sometimes, if you're very lucky, it gives them back. But I don't think it ever really lets them go.